Good morning and welcome to today's live show. Today on the tape for today, we do have some interesting things going on, right? We got the building permits potentially at 7:30, right? I think this is Wednesday. Yep. Okay. So there we go. So building permits come in. Housing starts, right? Housing starts. I was overall saying this most likely will come in weaker than the previous just because we've noticed some housing problems. Some builders have stopped production while some have continued. So very, very interesting there. Let me make sure the mic's on. Okay, cool. So the thing with this is something we really need to be paying attention to is around 1 p.m. Central Time, we will get the FOMC minutes and people will start to read into, and most likely we will see reactions for the bond market and the 10-year yield. So we'll be watching that throughout the day. The other thing I just wanted to point out was let's look at some key levels for today. As far as the options go for today, we got the date of today's close and we see 615 and we see 609 and then we see 602, and that's all we really need to get. We need to get these main little points in here and go, okay, 615, 609, 602. What are some levels that we can use that are important? Well, we do have daily expected moves down there, and you'll notice that the top side daily expected move is right by what? 615. All right, and then the downside move is right by what? 609, right? So now we're paying attention to, hey, if that 30-minute, if we want to use 609 as support and turn back to the upside, hey, that would just be a 30-minute able to cross into positive territory. Okay, awesome. And then if we make that upside move first, which if this would curl up, that would be the most probable thing at that point. It looked like the most probable thing from the RSI and the price action, but notice the MACD has not crossed yet. So this can extend higher, but right now we're just starting to give that up. So we want to be aware of that 609. We want to be aware of 615 if we're going to continue. And that's just for today. Now, by the end of the week, everyone is really looking at some bearish plays. So by the end of the week, it's pretty much like if we don't close below 600, then you're really not paying out almost any puts as of this week goes. So that'll be interesting, but that can cause some squeezing. So we'll see what happens with that going forward. For the SPY though, yeah, you really just want to be paying attention. If that 30-minute curls up, hey, 615. If it's going to back off right now, you're looking for 609. If you lose 609, where can we end up? What was the other data point? 602. What's at 602? Our weekly expected move, okay? So if we're going to go all the way down to 602, that still makes a lot of sense and still can remain bullish. And that's why I have this white line here. And I think that this line will really kind of symbolize like, hey, are the bears in any kind of control? Because if we're below that line and we actually remain below there, I think they could be. But the bulls keep saving it every time we're below that area. Even right there with the little tag. So if we lose that, that's when I'll be a little bit more bearish and like, hey, something crazy can happen unless we have reversal signals down here. So we'll be paying attention, but there are some key levels being 615, 609, which pretty much what we're saying here is you can use your daily expected moves very, very well today, right? 614.63 is what we'll be watching, 608.35. Now we're keeping in mind 615, 609, and then 602 if it really wants to get bad. Hey, that's a weekly expected move and it's still above 600. So even that kind of pullback could end up swinging back around. That's all we're getting at here. As we look over at the Qs, I'm not really going to pull up the options data for this, but we can look at 543.08. I think the SPY is doing a fine job of giving us those levels. So 543.08 to the upside, and we have 535.66 to the downside for the Qs. Once again, if this 30-minute just curls up at any time, if it can remain in these daily expected moves, fool around for a while, and then just turn right back up, we would be pointing in that upward direction. We might gravitate to a monthly or weekly expected move. But just remember, if we get outside of that monthly expected move, you have a 68% chance to close down below that yellow line by pretty much, what is it, next... I guess it would be next Friday. So by like next Friday, you're pretty much like, hey, okay, we could see a bunch until then, but if we're up here by say Wednesday of next week or something, then you have that 68% chance to drop back into that monthly expected move. So we'll be paying attention. As of right now, we do see the key levels for the Qs. Awesome. We see the structure of the MACD is very simple on the 30-minute. That's great. If daily charts, 4-hour charts start to roll, that's when we pay attention, and volatility is starting to turn up. So what we're watching for volatility is a couple of things, right? We were paying attention to 1504, and we said 1504 is where I'm going to keep watching for all these type of reactions to keep taking place and just see if we can break through at some point, maybe retest and keep on going. We do have 2-hour divergence across this MACD, which means that the daily and the RSI, so the daily has a good shot to turn up here. And you notice we're starting to take back that 9. That's the first signal right there. The reading, not price action, trying to get you above the 9. If we can break out, see that continuation, this bad boy might be crossing, and volatility is here all of a sudden on the daily chart. So we are in a vulnerable spot. We can get rid of that vulnerability if this 2-hour just crosses right back down right now. Right? If we're going to keep going bullish, we're going to keep going bullish, we're going to keep going bullish, then we're going to see spikes in volatility, right? Spikes that then fail very quickly. Here's your spike. Will it fail really quickly? And that's the question. So 2-hour turning over is what I'd be watching here. Alrighty, I hope everyone's got a good amount of coffee in them. I hope you guys are ready for this thing to open up in about 7 minutes, and I hope you guys are doing overall good, just from a human-to-human standpoint. I'm hoping you guys are feeling good today. I hope you're ready to trade. I hope you're ready to be patient and make a good decision based on the signals, and that's all we're trying to do on this channel is help people make a little bit better decisions. Even if that decision is sitting on your hands, even if that decision is maybe managing your risk in a trade, maybe that decision is getting out of a trade because it's making me feel uncomfortable, right? All of those things can really help me over time, and that's a big deal. All right, let's say hi to some people. Richard, the first in again, aren't you? Looking over at Meta. Let's go look at Meta real quick, because Meta, seeing that downward move. Now, the key thing about this downward move, and someone was pointing it out yesterday, is we had weekly expected moves around this area. Now, we want to understand that the SPY and the Qs are in a spot where they are vulnerable, but up higher. We have some stocks that are lower with reversal signals. We have some stocks that are majorly higher with reversal signals. So it'll be important to pay attention to, do we see that rebalancing where the ones higher up go down and the ones that are down go up, and then we kind of stay sideways? Or are we going to see a decision made where one of those maybe just consolidates a little bit sideways, you know, one of the ones higher up, and then we see big moves from stuff like Microsoft and Google? I think that would be the big deal. But this is not a good sign for Meta. This is really, really bad because you've broken 2 of the lows. Like, you'd almost say 2 of these lows, right? We've been holding up very, very well this entire time. We just give it up. So what's the most likely thing here? Well, we have a weekly expected move. We can still see that bounce, but we want to see if that 30-minute fails at any time. And it hasn't even curled up yet. You just saw a big reaction off of a weekly expected move at this point, right? We have a weekly expected move right in this area, and we're starting to see that curl to the upside, but we'll see if that can continue, because right now it's giving it all up. Meta, I'm sure, Richard, I'm sure you're liking this a little bit. The fact that it's just like trapping people right away, but I just be careful. There's some volatility in the stock. This could easily see another group of buying come back in. Some things to pay attention to. Microsoft. I think Microsoft had great signals down here. That confirmed really strong. But remember, we're seeing if anything can go wrong here. We have not taken back the 5 yet. The 2-hour has crossed up, right? But it's been giving all the rejection divergence. So once again, you're in a situation that's like opposite of Meta, opposite of Palantir, if you will, where it's kind of squeezing to the downside. It's creating those reversal signals. But if those don't see good news, then the trend will most likely continue. Okay, so if this crosses down, the trend going down will most likely continue. And that's key to understand, because a lot of people see this and they go, oh, it has to play out that way. That's not how it works. It much more is like, it can play out that way. Okay, it's breaking out that way, and then I can take a trade if it breaks out that way, right? I can take a trade if it breaks out this way, takes back that 5, take a trade maybe all the way up to 417 or 418. That's fine. But I need to understand that during this period of time, there are vulnerabilities out there. So if that fails, I need to be ready to react. Google's going to be another one, right? Google actually looks like a fantastic setup. I am not by any means thinking that this is a bad setup. I think it's a fantastic one for Google right now. But you're seeing a fantastic setup while there are vulnerabilities, okay? Vulnerabilities. So this just means to me, I'm going to potentially take a trade, right? If I want to take any of the, as long as I have my reasons, I'm happy. Reasons, I'm happy. Reasons, I'm happy. reasons, I'm happy. But I haven't seen those reasons fully yet. I need this MACD to confirm up. I need to take back that 5, and then we can potentially see a move all the way up to 193.50. I think that would be a fantastic place to get to, then see that little handle come in and then curl up into positive territory. That's how this thing remains bullish. But once again, if we start to curl down 2-hour charts, you could be heading further down. We could head to 182.59 first. That's kind of my line in the sand, though. If we start to close below this, it's pretty set that we're going to go fill this gap at 177, 177.50. So I'd be careful with it, but you're seeing those reversal signals. If those play out, okay, maybe the market does hold up better. Maybe the market does go up higher, and you're getting reversal signals from Microsoft, from Meta, or not from Meta, I'm sorry, from Google. And then we look over at something like Amazon, you're going, this thing has pulled back. Right? But how controlled is it right now? Well, it looks even less choppy than this. I mean, it's more direct, but that's looking like a wedge to the downside. So once again, you're looking for another one of those breaks, and it looks like this daily could end up curling up into positive territory at the end of it all, and then we end up in March or something like that, and then we create another divergence point, and maybe Amazon's the thing to keep an eye on. Right, so we're watching these things because we're seeing big downward moves. We're heading to some weekly expected moves on some of these moves. And so if we're going to see something crazy to the downside, we got to see some big confirmations down. And then we'll get a lot of moves outside of weeklies. So we're watching. Volatility is now up 3.78%, testing the top of this here. I want to make sure those are connected pretty well. They are connected pretty well, so we're testing the top. You see how the daily really looks like what? It's trying to curl back around. So if this can remain, this can be a little bit worrisome today. We got the market opening up in 2 minutes, so let's get over to the SPY, see how this thing wants to react in the first 30 minutes or hour of the day. All right, what are you guys talking about? All right, let's see here. Robert, thanks for joining us this morning. IWM puts are nice at the open. Very, very nice. Bernie, YS, good morning. Cheese Chaser, good morning. Chris, hi, how you doing? Bernie, thoughts on Meta? Hopefully you were able to see some of those thoughts on Meta right now. I think it's in a fishy spot, and I'd be happy if I was in puts, but I'd be looking at that weekly expected move for a potential at least take of some profit and leave runners. That's how I like to put it there for Meta. Good morning, Marco. Hope you're doing good. Justin, what is up? Eric, welcome, welcome, welcome. We can look at NVIDIA soon. Since Meta broke the support, do you think of buy the dip for long term, too long or options? Hiran, it's for this week for Meta. You have a very high likelihood to see a 30-minute bounce. But if I am, looking at Meta and I'm seeing that bar, I'm most likely leaving runners, right? I want to utilize the weekly expected move as it is only Wednesday, and we could see a bounce from there. I want to make sure to be taking profit on Meta. I want to be very clear on this. I didn't take the second play down, but I'm just saying, if this happens and I'm in puts and I'm making money, and I see a weekly expected move tagged on a Wednesday morning or Tuesday, right? It was tagged yesterday. Okay, then I'm going to take profit and leave runners. That's how I like to do it, because then if this 30-minute was to curl up, I can then sell those runners and fully be taking profit and still be in the green. If something crazy does happen and this doesn't curl up and something crazy just happens, hey, that's okay, because I have some of those runners for a little bit more money, and then I can take profit kind of whenever I want. Right? And look at that. It's still going down, so nothing to react to just yet. And this would be great, though. This would be a great take profit. Kind of mad at it, right? Kind of mad at it, because I had to manage a trade right here, and I was looking for the next swing up to give me that good signal. We'll see. Maybe we still get it. Who knows? Maybe we'll get a lower high or something. That'd be great. NVIDIA, I think you're in trouble, but you're holding up very, very well. So I don't think you're in trouble just yet, okay? This 30-minute here is looking pretty good. All we see is a little something like this. All we see is some flatness up here. So this can just be a pullback that then shoots you up higher again, and then I'd be watching out again. I think on the next turn up, I'd really be watching out for this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You might even pay attention here. How would this really like to break down? The 2-hour crosses, that's when I'd be a little bit more worried that we're going to see some kind of pullback here. People say I don't use fibs, but I'm going to use it right now. Look for that golden pocket area. Okay, retest a breakout. So you're looking for the retest in this 0.61 or the golden pocket down towards 124. I think that would be great. If it holds up better, hey, that's awesome. We're just looking for the 2 hour to confirm up. The 2 hour is not bearish, right? It's very bullish. So unless you get a moment like this right over here, more likely that it's going to pull back and then be able to hold up at one of these breakouts. And we've always liked that 127.74, so maybe we'll watch that. We crash into... My daughter's yelling dad at the door, I'm sorry. I did look over and I did see AMC, but yeah, for NVIDIA, 2 hour pullback looks like most likely scenario here. Maybe 30-minute move up first, then 2 hour pullback. But you really look at this and you're going, I mean, it's a great place to do it. You filled the gap and then you back off and then you break through. Like, I don't think that's bad by any means, but it will take place around earnings, which could be risky. AMC, very, very good here for AMC to be making upward moves. The only problems going on here are 30-minute divergence. Okay, you have a 30-minute divergence across this now, which just tells us, okay, the 2 hour can pull back. So look at that 2 hour, very extended. What do you see? I mean, I see this, right? This is very blatant. I see this, I see this, I see this, I see the potential for this. If earnings come out good. That's the bad part. AMC is going to have earnings, so it's going to be another 50-50 flip. And every single earnings, they see the E too, right? We've talked about that before. They see the E on the screen as well. So 2 hour pullback is the most likely thing for AMC. If you're asking about the squeeze is always the least likely thing for AMC and GME. For anything, right? A short squeeze is very, very low probability. But if you have the right signals behind it, you can maybe get lucky and catch it at the right time. I think this is one of those times where you could catch it. I genuinely do. I mean, we looked at the 2 hour divergence. The last time we had 2 hour divergence, I can't remember. I think it was right in here we saw a nice move, right? The other times we've seen 2 hour divergence was like down in these lows, right? And that actually played out to positivity. Then we saw the divergence up here, lead to negativity. So divergence here means positivity can happen. And look, positivity is happening. That's it. But 2 hour pullback is most likely. If the daily curls down, say with earnings and stuff like that, that's going to be bad. You're probably taking out this low, making a new one. Come on, Google. Let's go. We crashing? It's like the hype day. We crashing every day. Or tomorrow's always the crash day. That's what it is. Tomorrow's always the crash. What do you think of market internals for S&P and QQQ? I think that the S&P and QQQ are being held up by, let's say it this way. I think that the S&P 500 and the QQQ have as much stability in them and quality in them as a new constructed home today worth $1 million. If you haven't looked at the videos of new construction of $1 million homes, I highly encourage you go on YouTube now and you go find someone that's showing the construction behind these $1 million homes that they're pumping out everywhere. Or $500,000 homes to $1 million homes they're pumping out everywhere. Literally, nails do not connect to wood sometimes. So that's what I think about the S&P 500. Does that mean if I have a badly constructed house, does that mean that it's all going to come tumbling down tomorrow? Or does that mean it would more so be maybe vulnerable to something bad happening, like a big storm or like a big something or something breaking in the house, right? That's what I think we are right now. I think we're that poorly constructed home that is completely manufactured by debt. And I think that eventually something inside our house is going to break, or something from the outside is going to cause a lot of things to break. And that's how I think it. Do it, BNEC. Do it, BNEC. I dare anyone to go online right now, go on YouTube and look up newly constructed homes or badly constructed new homes. And you will see neighborhoods of homes that are built in the same way, with the worst quality, with the highest price tag. It's like those purses that women like. Those purses used to hold value. They used to have decent material. They used to have workmanship in them, and they were worth $15,000. Now they're worth $50,000, and the production value is just it's terrible. Like, women are complaining that the bag won't even hold up for 6 months, and they barely take it out. PLTR, uh-oh, what's PLTR doing? Is it diving? I'll give it to you in one moment there, Joey. So PLTR, still paying attention to the 2 hour, able to cross up, right? This thing is squeezed and squeezed and squeezed and very difficult to short, right? Kind of like a meta, very difficult to short. So Birkin, yeah, OG Birkin. This is where you really want to be just going, okay, what's the most likely thing? Daily pullback. What's the most likely thing after a daily pullback? Well, upside. That is the most likely thing. So yeah, I can try to short this in a short squeeze, but what if it just keeps squeezing? Then I lose all my money, right? So what's the better thing? Well, it's like if I want to short it, make sure you know how to manage risk. And the other thing is, the easier trade might just be, hey, wait a month, let this thing come down and then curl up. And then we're going, okay, this is pretty simple now, right? When you simplify the trade, it makes it a lot easier. And if the trade doesn't pop up, bummer, look at something else. The simplest thing here is just a daily pullback. Exactly, Bianek. Exactly. Exactly. Just looked at those videos. That's what I'm talking about. That's what's being built here right now and having a top tier solid price on it. It's not worth what it is, and that's what I'm comparing to the market right now. I don't think that the market is worth what it is. I think it's being built up by bad nails and bad production and bad electric and bad plumbing, and then putting a big price stamp on it. That's what I think's happening here. Yeah, we're in our housing market, it's like you can't get a house that's past the 80s, built before the 80s, and you don't want a house that's built after 2010. That's like how it is, right? So the sweet spot is like in between 1980s and 2000s would probably be the best time to make it. Oh yeah, let's give those monthly expected moves real quick for Joey. We calculate them using the options data. So you need the, for weekly and monthly, you need the closing price of the last day of the month, and then you calculate out, say, 30 days of price action. So you use the 30-day thing, and then you just look at the implied volatility for the month. We put that into a calculation, and boom, we get 624.28 to the upside and 579.36 to the downside. Not the biggest implied volatility there. Now, you asked for what's the weekly and monthly move? Yeah, so the daily moves are down at the bottom of your screen. Monthly moves, obviously, we're coming into that last week of the month, so it will be a key time to pay attention, but overall, we've spent the month in the middle. You can see January 30th, 31st was right in here, and we've overall spent the most amount of time in the middle here. We haven't seen that big reaction up or that big reaction down just yet. Meta did take a big hit outside of a weekly expected move. That's where it's very vulnerable. That's why it's like, if I'm being a good trader, I'm still leaving the runners there, right? And then seeing if that thing will turn back around. Come on, Meta, 660, 660, 666, come on. Just hire an old guy to help you do your own. Well, that's the thing too. It's like, Nicholas, you have to, even to get a home, right? We talked about this a few streams ago. Even to get a home right now, if you watch those videos, what do people say the solution is? The solution is to buy a house today, you have to get those 4 different inspections, right? You have to get electric, you have to get plumbing, you have to get foundation, you have to get everything. And it's just like, that's a lot. That's a lot. But that extra $1,000 that you spend on those other assessments can really benefit you in the long run, because that could save you if they say, oh, there's a crack in the foundation. Okay, now I can bring that to the seller instead of buying the house like everyone was a few years ago, just blindly buying houses and expecting them to be good because they look nice on the inside. It's like, yeah, you gotta, it's like the Wizard of Oz. You gotta look behind the curtain. Could Tesla squeeze up here? Tesla very well can. Built up sideways in this area for a long time. Tesla, we want that daily to curl up. I think if the daily curls up, we get a lot more hints here of like, hey, we can go all the way to 387.77. Hey, we could start to build this up, but overall, Tesla is still looking like a lower high is the more likely scenario. Just so you are aware with the positioning of the MACD, a lower high is the more likely scenario for Tesla at this point. You need guys who know. Exactly. That's why I'm glad my uncle is an electrician. I can literally call him up and come have him like go to a little house tour with me or something, and he'll be able to pick it up right away. And then if he can't, then you put an offer on the house, he can actually do the inspection. Wisdom talk, Marco, wisdom talk. 600 or 616 this week? 615 was the key level for today. 615 for the upside was the key level for today, and that's right around our 614.63. And then after that, 609 and 602. So we've got 3 really key levels for the day, 6 pretty much our daily expected moves, right? Weirdly enough, they're all lining up to this. This level, and this level are actually all showing as potentially important today. HIMS is running. Let's go look at HIMS. I've seen that a couple of times. HIMS is running, and HIMS is not looking back. My goodness. Yo, has this got a short seller problem in it? Like, how the hell is this thing? Ah, no. Yeah, well, someone did something over the last few days for HIMS. And since it's ending up in the upward direction, I'm pretty inclined to say, you might have had someone cover at this point. It's still a good gain though, Laws. It's a good gain, but it's also like, damn, when you look back, you're like, man, that's unfortunate. I mean, let's look. I mean, if we just take the monthly into consideration here, was HIMS worth holding for a potential investment? And here's the curl up by the center line, right? Here's that curl up, a little bit of consolidation, but we hold the 9, very good, and we never looked back since. So if you just looked at a monthly chart and said, hey, that crossed up into positive territory with a higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low, made a new high, never broke the low again, bam, big reaction, move the stop up, bam, big reaction, move the stop up, bam, big reaction, move the stop up, and then you end up doing that. Very nice. You bought him at 27? Congratulations, Ondo. So, yeah, you kind of can see how monthly charts can help you out with these bigger ones, right? Because it's very hard to find the option for these, I would say. Depends on, like, IV could be really high. Affirm. Yeah, I've seen Affirm a few times as well in the chat there. Yeah, this is going to be 30-minute divergence, though. 30-minute divergence is confirming. 2 hours really rejecting here. So this looks like a daily pullback is potential. You do have daily divergence as well. So this is kind of a problem. Yeah, you almost have triple divergence across. Triple divergence does not hold on the MACD at the same time, but the one divergence here does. So you got to treat this like this. Remember when we do get to these key levels and we just break through? What do we like to do? A lot of the time we'll come and make the right shoulder that could have been if we're going to keep heading up in that upward direction. So I'd look for something like this. If that happened, I'd be back on the bull side. If that goes like this, fails again, then we're looking at $50 again for Affirm. So I do think the MACD is positioned high up enough that it can make that little tiny right shoulder, or if you want to call it like cup and handle from this area, I think you dip into something like 66, 69, somewhere in here, and then you're able to cross up into positive territory. Now, this can be deeper than that. I want to see it when this turns up at any point, because it can be deeper than that, because I'm noticing something here. In this area, you have this block. We gapped above that block and pushed through, so we could not even be making the right shoulder from this area. We could go make the right shoulder all the way down at something like $60, turn back around and see that upside. Because we never made that left shoulder, or that right shoulder, right? We just saw the big gap up. So now if it wants to give that up for a moment, that's what I'd be looking for, if that's gonna end up bullish again. But this is a reversal signal. You have a weekly chart here to watch. If that weekly turns down, it might be more serious. Palantir due for a major crash? Probably. Probably. I'm not gonna bet against it, but probably. This is very nice from Intel on the weekly. First of all, you see the double bottom. Like, doesn't that immediately make you feel a little better? Like, look at this right here. 3 touches down here, and boom, all that divergence. Well, you have divergence again, double bottom. This could play out to the upside. Daily scale, divergence on the daily scale for a double bottom there, and that's already played out. So pullback here could be necessary, but everything looks pretty decent, honestly. And weekly divergence makes me think a monthly could curl up. Monthly divergence is there too. Intel might be about to see might be a good investment. Sorry, I'm stuttering, but this might potentially be a good investment. I mean, look at the monthly divergence, like, and you have a weekly divergence confirming technically. So that's kind of a big deal, guys. Like, Intel might be about to pop off or be a good investment for the next, say, 12 to 24 months. That's what Intel looks like, which is very interesting because I feel people are very negative on it. So if people are negative on it, then I just want to make sure to be managing risk. Nice, Joey. Yeah, wait for your time, right? Oh, 4% down for AMC. Not a good sign. This means that these divergences were adding up to something, right? The divergence at the high adding up to something. Pulling back from a good level, though. I don't think this is like garbage. I just think the 2-hour needs a pullback, and that's what should happen here, right? 2-hour pulls back, 2-hour curls back up. You're happy, right? This curls back up. That would mean what? Well, this is going to continue. As long as it's in positive territory, we can still say, hey, this is more likely a pullback than some kind of absolute rug pull. Take profits on Tesla? Well, it just depends. I mean, is it at a weekly expected move? You know, what things am I seeing? I'm seeing a breakout above here. I'm seeing a daily that could be about to cross. Like, I'd probably be like chilling. I mean, it depends on what my expiration is, but I'd probably be chilling. Like, I think I like the look of it all across the board, unless I'm at a weekly expected move. Tesla is not even near the weekly expected move, but it's pointing directly towards it. So I'd be marking off that weekly expected move. Targeting something like 380 would probably be the best, 380. But that would take you outside of a weekly expected move. All right, let me do this. Let me pull up this. Okay, GME, very interesting for GME. This is what I'm watching for this guy. Does the 2-hour cross today? That's one. But two, what the heck? This is what we wanted. We're getting everything we wanted from GME right now. We got the reaction from the low. We were able to react and take back the 5 and go all the way up towards 2886. Fantastic level to get to. We back off for that pullback and we curl back up. That's bullish. But if this 2-hour crosses through that 5, I'm not liking it. So I want this 30-minute to curl up today. I want this to curl up in the next like 2 hours. That's what I want to happen for GameStop. I want this to use that 5. Use the 5, go up. Use the 5, go up. Let it rip, sell that rip. Let it rip, sell that rip. And then eventually you might be seeing something absolutely crazy. If we get another gap up here, you close on Friday above 2886. If you can manage to close above 30, that would be amazing. I like mine on the MACD, Samson, because it's a little bit more laggy, right? It's a little bit more laggy, but sometimes I'll use that RSI to get in a little early. So I really look for them at the same time. I do believe RSI divergence to me would be like better, like making sure it's on the RSI I think is pretty important. But as long as it's holding close or something, more so, I look for that confirmation from the MACD. But you're asking someone who likes to take them when they're at the same time, right? If I really think clearly and I go, if it's only on the MACD, might be a little riskier. If it's only on the RSI, it might be a little riskier. What am I trying to do? I'm trying to mitigate that risk. So if they're at the same time, that's much better for me. Much, much better. So, oops. Think Bitcoin getting ready to break out of that falling wedge, which means risk on. It potentially does, right? Bitcoin showing that daily want to reverse back around. Look at this. I mean, really, this could be good. The daily can curl up, then that should be a good thing. That should be a good thing. Daily curls up here, that'd be good. I think Mara was getting some positivity, if I'm not mistaken. Mara has daily divergence. Uh-oh, Mara has daily divergence. These are plays, right? We're mentioning them. Daily divergence confirms. Could be good for a month. In your opinion, do you see SPY, and thank you so much, Jagger, for the $4.99, SPY at a macro top? I know how inflated it is from a pricing standpoint. Curious on your opinion of the structure. As of right now, I think you're very vulnerable. I think you're very vulnerable. Okay, there's two things to really look at here, and this is why we're still going to watch if the daily crosses down, because you have divergence. You have a low implied volatility trading week. You have divergence on the RSI as well. You're still holding the divergence in the near term on the RSI. Isn't that interesting? Right? So we have a 4-hour divergence here as well. So you see there's a lot of risk as far as momentum goes, and this potentially can be a major top. That's my assessment of this right here. Do I think it is perfected and this and that? No top's going to look perfect. I want you to really think like every top can continue. How would it continue is the best thing to do. But if the daily does cross over here, I think it's a bad thing. I think it's a bad thing, and this could show its face as a major top. Whether that's for a correction or crash, we'll see. We're open to both. But something I would pay attention to in the opposite direction is the weekly. Right, the weekly already confirmed divergence. We were aware that this could have been bad right here, right? This could have been really bad right here. We go to the bottom of the channel, everyone's freaking out, and I just go, hey, what if we curl up, right? We have reversal signals. Let's take that trade. And we took the trade, and it was fantastic. So I'm not complaining about that, but I am seeing, and this is something we talked about, actually. If you guys can remember this, I'd be impressed. But we did talk about this. We talked about this. We talked about this happening when this crossed, where the MACD is able to pull down just a little bit lower, get that little blip up, and then cross down again, creating that next little divergence point that really sends you down. But you already have a strong divergence on the weekly here now, so you could be at a major top. But we were talking about this because of the last top. In the last top, we got that droop down. Look at the droop down. Hey, doesn't it look like we got a little droop down? And then we saw that sporadic move up, a nice little squeeze here. That could potentially be what happens next. And then we see this start to fumble around, give us a 2-hour divergence, and then drop. And that would mean we're going to go create another point on the MACD. So that's what I'm open to at this point. I think that if we are going to head higher, it's not going to be 700. I don't think we're going to hit 700 in the first or second quarter. I think that if this is going to extend, it could extend this week, it could extend next week, it could even pull back during this time, then it could extend into the late March, then we end up falling. I think this could take some time. Now, what things would contradict that? I think volatility is contradicting that, and I think volatility is saying, watch out right now, I got to get rid of these signals or else I'm coming back, like hard and fast. So are we at a major top? I think you have high potential that this could be a major top, yes. But it's important during those times where you have that feeling, you have that thinking, you have that structure, you have those divergences. It's very important not to make any silly things, make any silly bets. There's no reason for me to fully short everything right now. But if I get a daily confirmation, there might be, right? If I see this 4-hour chart confirm, there might be, right? That's divergence. You see it. Triple divergence across, holding all the points too. I mean, really, you take a point like this, you draw it across. Where are you? You're right there. So if this 4-hour cross, there'd be a trade. And then I know where that trade could bounce from. I'm positioning puts out to late March. See, at least you have a lot of time and you can react, right? I would say this, if I see a weekly crossing up, I probably would just say that's very likely to continue for at least another week there, right? You kind of see positivity this week a little bit, then you see positivity next week a little bit, then you get to a monthly expected move, maybe even this. This would be great. This would be a fantastic hint. If you see, here, we'll do it. We'll move this. If you see this purple line, we're going to update you for this line on Sunday night, right? Sunday's video on YouTube. We put out these levels for free. We give them out every single week. 617.31 is for this week. But what if this moves to there? What if it moves to there? And then next week we have price action starting here, and we have that downside move. And then early on, maybe by Monday or Tuesday, we end up doing this. And then we only have a few days left to pull back into that zone, 68%, right? I don't know, man. I think that would be the easiest setup. So I'm just kind of looking at it and going, interesting. If we see a weekly expected move out here, it's like best case scenario. It's the best hints. See, Samson's already like, damn, that'd be sick. Because how awesome would that be if you had a weekly expected move above a monthly? Well, that's as high up as you're supposed to get for the week, and you have a monthly move that's telling you to go down a little bit more. It's just great. That's what I'm looking for. That would be a fantastic signal. So Jagger, let's see. I'm not phased if a SPY make a turnaround at 617, to be honest. We've spent a long time away from the very least. A lot of people are starting to talk about the test of the 200. And this is the setup really right now that gets you to that 200. If the daily would cross here, I think you know, early March, you probably do end up at that 200. So that would be very interesting. Will that continue? Well, if we break this low, it potentially can, right? We can see like this divergence play out, tear down with a big drop, get some support off of that, maybe retest, then drop again, then maybe we build up over time, right? Maybe that's just all a corrective move, right? We'll see. I don't know, that would only be like 8% though. So we'll have to see. But yeah, there are risks here for sure. But you don't want to sit there and be like, as long as you know the risks, if you're aware of the risk, I can still trade, right? Because I'm aware of the risk. What up, Pish? Bingo, Jagger. Thank you for all you do for us. What are your thoughts on TMF TLT? We'll look at TLT real quick, and then I'll take a look over at DAX. Okay, we'll look at the DAX again. TLT, this looks like a lower high. Tell me right now this doesn't look like a lower high. Now, this can react a lot today. So you want to keep that in mind. This can react a lot today, FOMC minutes and stuff like that, right? We have stuff. But you can't tell me that this went negative. Then the most probable thing was to make a lower high. Then the 2-hour bounced. Then we made that lower high. And now we're starting to break down. This looks like lower high. If it can catch itself, hey, that'd be great. But right now you have taken this out. You've gone lower. We went down to that 87.08. Then you've gotten some kind of bounce. This would be nice to see another tag of that at least, and then see support come in, right? So anytime this 2-hour turns up, it can be back to the bull side pretty much, but you want to realize that this very easily could be a lower high right now, and it's actually kind of confirmed as a lower high, right? It's still by that center line starting to go negative, so it can take out this low and go make a new one. I'd be very excited for divergence or something like that would be nice. And then see that good news come in, but it doesn't look like we're going to get that. So just know this will react with the data. As it stands right now, if that daily crosses down, what do you think is going to happen? Probably not good things. Let's put it that way. Let's say if the daily crosses down here, you're probably not going to see good things. You're probably going to see bad things, all right? Now, if that's able to hold up better and curl up, awesome, but this is potentially going to go negative soon. 13% interest, he's not the only one. What? Who the hell would... That's like, you might as well just like take out a $10,000 credit card and like pay yourself the money and then use that to invest and pay 20% on it. What? Saw a guy take out a personal loan to buy TSM stock at 13% interest. Like APR? He's not the only one, but it's proved that people will still be crowded into equities even if the 10-year is high AF. Well, that's true. That's true. But here's the thing. We've seen consumer start to get a little tapped out. And that's kind of a big deal. I'm going to look at something on my other charts here to see if that's gone up. All right, I'll go check if that's gone up, and if it's interesting, I'll show it to you guys. I'm going to check on something over here. Let's go see. Oh yeah, that's right. This one. Credit card loans. It actually swung down a little bit. I'm kind of impressed. Oof. And that's the scary part for us, right? This is the scary part for us, is the fact that pretty much we're looking at just delinquencies, all commercial banks delinquencies here. And you've noticed that there has been even some divergence form here, okay? The last time we formed that kind of double bottom, even upward divergence just slightly here, what happened? 2008, 2007, 2008, 2009. Now we have that divergence again. It's really scaling up. It's getting across that center line. When it crossed the center line here, we were at April 1st, 2007. What was it, April 1st? I mean, it's a 3-month chart, so we got to take it with a grain of salt there. But when did that cross the center line? Right here. Yeah, April 1st. 2007. Let's look at the reaction, April 1st, 2007. April 1st, 2007. Notice we still ended up in the upward direction for a while, but eventually what did we lead into? A top. And that was a few months later. Like it was definitely, it was almost what, a year later? A half a year later, we topped. So now you're seeing a similar thing right now. So you might not have much time left, but you still might have time left. As a trader, we need to understand we could still head up. But just showing that delinquency rate off, you're going, People can keep putting it on the credit card, putting it on the credit card, putting it on the credit card, right, Carter? They can do whatever they want, keep taking out all the personal loans they want, but eventually they're going to be tapped out. They're not going to make those payments. And it's going to be bad, or they're just going to be in payments forever, right? I think to pay off the average credit card balance right now, if you just pay the minimum payment, I think it takes 18 years to pay it off. Consumer spending going down, exactly, and that's the credit card. That's why I'm showing off delinquencies. So, like I said, at the end of the day, what is the economy? The economy is consumers, right? The economy is spending. That's why government spending is so important for positive GDPs and things like that. Newest product today? I'm down. That sounds fun. Keep us updated, little AR-15. I'm down to think about it, but I'm not an Apple guy anymore. Nope, I made that switch. They just haven't innovated, I feel like, in a long time. Like, okay, you have a nice camera. Cool. Thank you so much, Justin. JP Morgan to 270. This thing got divergence, baby. All right, let's go look at JP Morgan then. I'm in Apple puts for the event. You're like, it's going to be bad. There is divergence all across this. This is a great 30-minute signal too. So I wouldn't even blame you if you're like, I'm taking this bad boy right now. I would not blame you. The 2-hour divergence is there. That hasn't confirmed. This looks like a top for JP Morgan, okay? You know, someone asking me, hey, what's the top look like for the, like, what's a major top look like for the SPY? Well, JP Morgan right now, this is everything you see in a top for major top here, right? So yeah, I think JP Morgan, yeah, sure, head a little bit higher, but I think in a month from now, JP Morgan will hit lower prices. And more likely it's going to hit 261 or 251 or go all the way down to 243. So I think JP Morgan, you might be difficult to short, you might be squeezing a little bit, but I think your time is very, very limited. Thanks for the event. It's not like that. We're not doing that. I'm just telling you, like, buying this thing here might be a bad decision, but yeah, I don't care what you do with your money. I'll draft the lawsuit just in case. Bring it, bitch. No. No, I still, at this point, am more focused on the SPY and the Qs. If you haven't noticed how I've been treating things lately, I'm very focused on the SPY and the Qs. Right, so even me looking at all those signals from JP Morgan, God, I'm really thinking about it though. That looks like, this looks insanely good. I'm thinking about it, man. I just wish that divergence was a little more downward. But man, I kind of like that. Ugh. It's hard, but this looks like a very good, like, month position. Is FOMC now? No. But y'all should have, King. All right, guys, I'll be right back in 2 seconds here. I'm going to go take a capiche. I'm going to leave you guys on the SPY for just a moment. I'll be back in 2 minutes, all right? Be right back. All right, sorry about that everlasting knowledge. I got you, buddy. TDD? Is that the trade desk? Oh, fudge. Bad. Very bad. Very, very, very bad. Very, 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 very bad. That's about it. Probably a level where people might buy, actually, weirdly enough. Saw support there a bunch. Yeah. If you're gonna bounce from somewhere, you'd hope it'd be here. Holy crap, everlasting knowledge. I can't believe you gave me this one. This thing is crazy. If you're gonna get a daily bounce, I think you fool around down here for a while, but I'm looking for some kind of structure to catch that bounce, but I'm gonna treat it that way, right? This is just gonna be a bounce. This is a trade that you want to get rid of. You know, that's how I would treat it. If it's going to build back over time, well, then you need some big buys to come in to push you above that 5 and then use that to go higher. I think that would be better. That's how you build back up to here. But for now, this is just really bad. PCC spiked there. I'm trying to decide, guys. I can't decide. It's hard. It's like, let me pull this over. I'm gonna do this on other charts. Still seeing if volatility is gonna break off. I gotta look at this on other charts. This looks like too good of a setup. Is this a golden setup? Is JP Morgan a golden setup? Who took the course and can tell me? Oh, fudge. So I was still on the 3-month chart from looking at delinquencies. Look at JP Morgan. Holy crap. Sorry about that. It's kind of switching on you guys. I just don't want to expose myself too much. It's like a great area to do it. Oh, the daily divergence is the only thing not there. Yeah, daily divergence just barely not there. If not flat, not really there on the RSI, but what about the weekly? Weekly, it's not there, just on the RSI. Damn, that is the highest up that's ever been, too. I'm gonna go look how cheap stuff is. I don't have a weekly for JP Morgan if someone's calculated that and wants to share with the group. Let's look. March. Oh, half March. 5, 3. Oh, this is actually very, very nice. Oh shoot. Weekly on the low end is 271.61. All right then, that's all I need. 281.56. 30 minutes. 281. So one more 30-minute cross up would be nice here. Because it's retesting breakout. So looking at JPM, you see how I'm trying to formulate the trade setup a little bit better here, as we're still seeing some positivity kick in right now. I know that this was down, but we're still holding up above that 5. So that always means I need to be aware if it does this. And if you're saying 281 is the level, well then 281 is here-ish. So we could do that and then fall. So one other thing I'll be watching is just if the 2-hour crosses, but I really like this look. I'm gonna look at this from a 15-minute standpoint. Go gadget stocks. JP Morgan put spread match 21, match 21. Oh, sorry, March probably. March 21, 275, 255 spread. I think that's a good area. I was looking at the 260 right away, but I was looking about 3. Was it 21? Am I on the 21st? I'm on the 14th. Let me look at the 21st. That'd give me that full 30 days. I mean, dude, even taking like 270, 265 does not look bad. Hit 281 in aftermarket yesterday. Extend the hours here. Okay. I see that. Yeah, it like hit right on 281.16. Interesting. I can't believe this PCC though, 1.0. That's very squeeze-like. That kind of makes me want to get out of call things, but I want to see if that's like a sentiment reaction for some reason. That's a reaction. Why would that happen though? All of a sudden, I don't see why that would happen. Why that would be retail. Oh, that's all right, Justin. As long as they're there, as long as you have a basic area, right? I trust you enough. You've been around enough, you know. Right, Jeff? Thanks for telling me, Jeff. And Justin, yeah, I'll keep an eye on it. But the main thing is just the price action. So as long as the price action proves it, I'm pretty comfortable. Yeah, I'm going to take a look at it. I'm trying to think if the better thing to do is to hold volatility or take a play on JP Morgan. I don't really want to do both. Retail shorting the top plus FOMC. That's kind of what I'm worried about, because if that's the case, then we just head up. Oh, DAX. That's right. Sorry about that, Duranto. Thanks for being patient, bud. DAX, though, remember we were worried about this. We were worried about this guy, but mainly I think it was on the daily scale, wasn't it? No, maybe not, but DAX for this guy, right? We were just like, hey, I don't know when that thing's going to give it up, but eventually when it does, it can get that waterfall moment. It can get that elevator down. We discussed that, I think it was about 2 days ago. And then look at that. We find a little bar here and we wipe out 4 days of price action. So for the time being, 2-hour pullback is still the most likely thing, even though you have 2-hour divergence across. It's not the best on the MACD. So still be open to the 2-hour turning back around. But if that daily starts to cross down, you might be in that pullback mode right now. So if we're in that pullback mode now, you're looking here, you're looking here. That's how I see it. You're looking in this box right here. And then if we get down there, fill a gap, turn back up, pretty happy with it. But yeah, I wouldn't, like, we were more discussing DAX in a way that was like, I'm not going to hold it here. I'm not going to start an investment here. That was the overall take on the DAX. We did check on HIMS. XLF, yeah, XLF. That's Sky. You're so smart. You're so smart, Jeff. God, stop being so smart. Oh, this actually might give us the good hint. 2-hour divergence. Oh God, I am so nervous for this, man. This is like, these setups are so much like, hey, this could be a W to go up, or this could just be a failure and be a, weirdly enough, this could potentially be head and shoulders. It's not gonna be the best look in the world, so I just create that floor right here at around $51, and then I would say left head, right shoulder. We haven't violated this yet, so if this curls down, I'm very worried about it. Very worried about it, because you have this, and then you also have this. It's a little bit of both. Jim's like, the pattern could go up or down. But those are sometimes the best setups if you wait for the break and then pay attention if it's a fake. It is, yeah, it's down. I mean, I don't really treat it like head and shoulders. Head and shoulders is a structural way to fall down. So if I can see this, I could not even call it head and shoulders if I don't want to. And I could just say, okay, this isn't a head and shoulders, but this is how this could fall down. Right? Because also, you're looking at this, that's divergence, this is divergence, this is divergence, this is divergence, all right now. So that's a big problem. If that 2-hour crosses, that's bad, which means the daily might be something I want to look at, and then you see divergence up here as well. It's kind of a big deal. It means XLF financials need to break out or else they are breaking down. I think I'm going to switch things up here. I think that's the smart thing to do. Also, let me check on my bad boys over here. GME still ending up in that downward direction, crossing on the 2, crossing on the 2, still kind of holding, it's still holding it too, it's just like this. So that's going to be a problem. AMC giving it up. Hey! I don't like it. Sorry, my dog just got into something, I'll be right back. Let me put you guys on the spy. I gotta clean this up now. A-hole. What an a-hole. What a jerk. Had my breakfast sitting down here, and now my breakfast is gone. Thanks, Alan. Appreciate it, buddy. What's the volume look like on JP Morgan Daily? Ooh, volume's been coming down. Light volume today. I really want to see that next 30-minute curl up, though. We'll see. I just feel like this is so sideways that another upward move makes a lot of sense. Keep an eye on volume. Volatility, see if that's ever going to break out. I might look at this on a 30-minute. A 30-minute can cross down. I assume this will all be dependent on FOMC. I assume most of this will be dependent on FOMC. Okay, one thing to look at here, the dollar on the 2-hour, right? If that crosses, we're not happy with it, especially if it crosses on the 4-hour. The market's waiting on something. It's waiting until 1 p.m. Yeah, it's waiting on 1 p.m. I'm just trying to think. Dollar looks like it might want to break down. The 10-year yield is starting to curl down right now, which means TLT might head a little bit higher. A lot of puts came in. For today, on a day with light volume, but CPC still at 0.76 up here. We can see that. We can see that it's still call side activity for the most part on the CPC. High yield growth dropping off. HGX dropping off. Hopefully that thing turns back up, man. That's going to be bad if it doesn't. VVIX trying to curl up. VIX trying to curl up. SPY not trying to curl up. You draw a trend line from the February low across and we're getting close. Okay. I'll look at it a little bit later. I might have to hop off a little bit early today. Just like a few minutes. But yeah, I kind of agree with Dubs. Like, I think that the big players are waiting to see what Jerome Powell is going to say, or they already know what he's going to say, right? They already have the orders in. We're just going to wait for something to be said so they can do whatever they want. Because they have big amounts of money, right? You have big amounts of money, you can manipulate people. Let's see over here. Just want to look at this again. Yeah, GameStop not able to get that positivity. AMC really giving it up, but just testing the 5, right? So not even like horrible, just testing the 5. So for the time being, that 2-hour hasn't crossed. I think it's very likely to, I want to say that, but if you want to squeeze, then you don't want that to cross. You want the 30 minutes to just go back up. SPY looks like maybe it wants to go. Remember, we could curl up. We could curl up. We could do all of this before we even get that news. Then we get that news, right? We'll see what happens. Probably, as it looks right now, it looks like we're going to just keep doing this until 1 o'clock. Very boring. So I might just go catch up on some things anyway. So I actually might have to call it right here. I think this is a good place to call it. We've looked at some interesting things. We've shown some potential setups. And the weird part is we've seen setups for upside, but we've also seen setups for downside. And Meta proving to finally give us that moment. So this is really bad for Meta. If we're reading into this and we're saying, what is Meta trying to tell us? Well, it's making a drastic move outside of a weekly, heading down, 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 and it's the first crossover. So even if we get a relief bounce, fill this or something, we still can end up in that downward direction for Meta. I would just be very cautious with this one going forward. Not trying to YOLO something for this to go back up, just waiting for the signals to provide that for me. That is very simple. If the 2-hour can curl up, then we have an opportunity to wipe out divergence. As of right now, though, you'd kind of be crazy to think that that's the most probable thing. Right now, it's this 5, make a divergence. Okay, that's when we'll pay attention. Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna have to take off for now, but I do appreciate you guys being here today. We will be putting out a YouTube video tonight. We've just had some a lot of snow. We've had some, you know, sickness in the family and stuff like that, just people catching little colds and things. So we're gonna try to make sure we're all healthy and stuff here at the house, but I will be putting out a YouTube video later on today. My opinion for AMC is it's doing everything it needs to do to see a good moment, right? That's all you're looking for, right? You're looking for a moment. you're not really looking for, you know, if you're playing the squeeze, if you believe in the company, I get you, but I think most people would say they're in this for the squeeze. So what you need to do is continue things being positive. I think this is great. This is great. This is not bad, right? You can't tell me this is bad. You can tell me it's a bad signal right now and we could get a 2-hour pullback and that's the most probable thing and we could go make structure to go higher. But for this right now, you're going daily's crossed up. If that crosses down bad, if the 2-hour crosses down bad, but right now you're just like, hey, if this can go positive now, next week might be a big deal. So that's what I'd be saying. All right, guys, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. I do have to take off, so I will be heading out right now, and I'll talk to you guys later on tonight to get you guys some updated daily expected moves. And Patreon people, just be ready in case I need to put out a Patreon video after the FOMC minutes, okay? Just be sure to check on Patreon after the FOMC minutes comes out. All right, guys, have a great rest of your day. Good luck trading, trade like water, and manage risk, and you'll be just fine. Peace out, guys.